Welcome to With Insights Radio. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. I will take you on a journey across the universe through shamanism, metaphysical, and holistic. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. I want to welcome everybody to Iggy Garcia Live, episode 112. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. So I want to welcome everybody who was able to tune in tonight. And I am going to share my link here for any of those of you who want to join me tonight on the show. Those of you who feel like you want to share what things that are going on in your mind, things that are happening. So this is the link here in a little bit if you want to join me. Okay, here's the link, and I'll bring you on if you want to talk with me. And let's see, do22, I love you. Okay, don't know what that means. No, I'm just joking. I know what that means, Markel. I'm just being funny. But like we do every show, we're going to light a candle. We're going to give thanks to our ancestors. Give thanks to all those who came before us. You know, good or bad, regardless, they're still our ancestors, and they're part of the makeup and part of the reason where we're here. You know, some people have a hard time with that, but, you know, they're not here anymore. So you get to do the work. You get to do the part that they weren't able to complete. So we raise this candle. We raise this candle, not rise. We raise this candle. We give thanks and we give honor, and we give thanks to all the things that are in our lives, all the things that, you know, are important to us, all the things that we value. And we remember all those people who came before us. You know, they were probably a lot like us. Probably wanted to make a difference in the world. They probably wanted to do things and change things, and want to help out in ways they possibly couldn't in the time. You know, every generation brings their own beliefs, their own karma, their own baggage, but they also bring their own amazing good stuff. So that's Chewy Center, that nougat, that stuff that's on there. So I'm going to pop off the link again to you guys if you want to join me tonight, if you have some things you want to share, what's going on. So this candle, and then we're going to burn a little sage just to clear that energy and get us ready and get us into the right frame of mind. Always love the sage. It's so good. I know there are people who like it and don't like it. There are people who are allergic to it. But I'm not, so I'm going to enjoy it. Let that burn while the show goes on. Keep that going. A little agua florida. After the cleansing, we want to do a little purification with that energy. Get us a frame of mind. Smells so good. All right. Put that back there for a minute. Let it do its thing. So I know for a lot of you guys, I haven't been on the air for a little bit because I've been working on some projects. But the biggest project has been working on myself. And for those of you who ask where I got the sage from, I grow the sage in my yard this year. Probably won't have much sage as I usually have because, you know, just a lot of the nurseries haven't carried it just because of COVID-19 and all that things that came with that. So hopefully, you know, we can get some bundles made this year, but not going to be like I usually make. But where was I? Oh, what I was talking about was I've been working on myself. I've been kind of cutting through the cords and letting go of energies, letting go of friendships, relationships, saying goodbye to friends, saying goodbye to loved ones. And, you know, that's been kind of the last 4 years for me. It's been kind of that way. just a whole new revival, a whole new thing. Right now, we're in this really interesting time where we're going through a lot of changes. Everybody's going through a lot of changes, individually, collectively, regardless. We're all going through these changes, and all these changes right now are affecting everybody completely different. And all these changes that are happening, it's important to know that we have to be able to change while we're in this process and while we're moving through this difference of living, this different way of life, because life right now can be very challenging for a lot of people. It can be challenging for myself. It can be challenging for your animals, your pets, and especially challenging for the loved ones that you have, people who know you a certain way. So, change can happen very gradually. It can happen over time. It can happen abruptly. And, changes happen. That's just part of life. And unfortunately, some people are good with it. Some people aren't. Um, I like to say that I am, but I'm not sure if I'm always good at it. But I've been working on my spiritual side, my mental side, my physical side is back at work doing that again. I gotta let that go once COVID hit. I don't know, for some reason I just stopped working out. And so it's just one of the things that you do. But it's not so hard to not work out. But I've been keeping and working on the little aspects of things. So it's not like I totally stopped. It's just I haven't done that extreme mean workout thing like I usually have in the past. But there's always times to pick it up and do it again. So that's kind of where I am. And tomorrow I set my goal to get on that treadmill and start running it and start working it, because I believe it's time to work through this stuff. Right now, a lot of people are going through a lot of different things. I'm not excluded from that. I'm in that boat just like everybody. And hopefully we all can come to some understanding from with one another, what it means to navigate the waters right now and try to honor and respect each other. But I'm also here to just remind everybody, as a person who is very connected, like everybody's very connected, but who works with etheric and earthly energies, and is very connected through shamanism and different aspects of that work, that I've been getting a lot of messages, been receiving a lot of downloads, and that's kind of where I've been. And that's good. And that's good. I've let go of some things, cut some things out, but I've been on this painting binge of sorts, where things have been coming into my head, and I've been kind of working through the painting. Some of you have seen some of my paintings. I have different paintings that I've worked on. I have paintings of landscapes and places and things that that are familiar and unfamiliar to me, and basically that's kind of what I've been doing. And I'm pretty surprised what comes out, because I don't really plan anything when I'm painting. I just start to paint, and I let the brush do the work. I let the brush just kind of take over and do what it needs to do. Here, I'll give you an example of, here's one. I call it, this is Life on the Moon. For those of you who have not seen this, this is Life on the Moon. This is my interpretation of life as it may look on the moon. I know the glare doesn't help it, but that's just something that I painted yesterday. I painted that yesterday. This is another one. I call this Sunset in Atlantis. That's my Sunset in Atlantis painting. This is the blue sun and the spaces between us all. If you see those pictures, I'll show you some more throughout the show. These are some of the pictures that I've been working on, paintings actually, using acrylic paint on my canvas, and just kind of letting spirit just be the guide. I don't claim to be any amazing painter by any means, but it's self-expression. It's something that we're here in this renaissance of expression, this moment where we were locked away for, what, 3 months or so. We were kind of on lockdown, where we had to kind of just be in our own little worlds and let things occur and let things happen. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. I have a whole bunch of other paintings I have too. I've been kind of writing music too. I've been working on some spoken word stuff. Some of you who will listen to my show or follow me regularly, I have two spoken words album. One is Coach Iggy, and then the other one is the first one. It's just some life motivational stuff in order to kind of get you in the frame of mind. You can find that on Spreaker, or you can find that on Spotify, and they're all free. They're all there to download and for you to access and listen to. I know some of you listen to those regularly, and that you say it helps you out. I do want to say hi to everybody who's tuned in. I do apologize that I've been kind of a little bit spastic, a little sporadic here, not paying attention on the board here. So I want to say hi to everybody who's popped in, everybody who's come in: Markel, Sammy, Sherry, Abby, Krista, Lucas, Mark, Kay, Lee, Susan, Lauren, Christy, and Catherine. You've all been kind of popping in and out. Some of you probably already gone, but regardless, I'm glad you stopped in and hang out with me. So I've come here today to share with you a message that I've kind of received. I've been kind of receiving along the way of my journey of hermetism, as I call it, being a hermit, being in my hermit stage of sorts. Today, Spirit really pushed me to come online and to actually talk with everybody and share with everybody, and not to be so distant, especially for myself. Don't become so distant. So that's why I'm here today to share, because I got a message as I was walking down the street in my neighborhood. I saw a sign that had several different catchphrases, several different things. It said all Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, Blue Lives Matter. It just was a hodgepodge of things. But the one thing that stood out of all the message was water is life. That really stuck and hit a chord with me. And that really jarred something open in me that had been kind of closed off for a little bit. The sacredness of water. We could battle and fight and do whatever we need to do to get our agendas pushed. But, yesterday I watched a documentary called Pacificum. It's a documentary about waters of Peru and how some of the biggest fossils remains are there in the deserts of Peru, where the ocean used to come up to a certain level and then eventually receded out. And as I was watching this video, and there were some good aspects to it, there's some bad aspects. Then the bad aspects was the pollution, how polluted some areas and some waters were, and how heartbroken that made me, how bothered I was by that. These are my people. These are human beings. These are people who live every day, and and I know this because they discard these things. I've seen it, and it's been done in front of me, and I'm like, there's a trash can like 5 feet away. Why can't you throw it away? And so I'm like horrified of the legacy that we are leaving behind. This particular generation is leaving behind, and the generations before that, and what we're going to leave the future generations, the future children. Some of you who have children understand what I'm saying. Some of you who have nieces and nephews or significant others or kids that you or are in alignment with understand what I'm saying. We really doesn't really matter what agendas we have, what we want to push, what masks we want to wear, what securities we want to take. If our waters are polluted and they're contaminated and they're not to the place where they need to be, we're going to suffer much more graver than what we feel that we're suffering now. I'm here to remind everybody that the waters are very sacred, that they need to be honored, and they need to be repaired. They need to be cleansed. Not that the Mother Earth can't do it, but in order for our survival as human beings, we need to figure out ways to fix these problems. I don't care if Trump's in office. I don't care whoever's going to be in office. I don't care if there's a virus, I don't care everything. If we don't have clean water, sustainable water, we're screwed. Okay, and if you think that our waters are clean and you think our waters are sustainable, they are to a degree. But what I saw, what I witnessed, and what I understand is the detriment that humanity has caused to this planet, the things that we have done to this planet, the things that we have, and not even talking about oil and mining. I'm talking about water. I'm talking about water. There are people who are buying water around the world, springs, the Patagonias, all over the world. The Bush family owns one of the largest water reserves in the Patagonians in Argentina. You have to ask yourself, why do these people invest so much money in stock in water? I'll tell you why. Because water right now, if you think oil's valuable, well, you ain't seen nothing. Wait till water becomes very valuable, where you have to have it in order to survive. They take water, they put it in a bottle, and they sell it to you. They filter it, they clean it, and they sell it back to you. Okay, some of you guys buy water. I buy water. They sell it back to us, and they make profit off of it. When I was growing up, if you even thought about buying bottled water here in America, I can't speak for other countries, but we didn't have bottled water. It was very rare if there was. I think Perrier was like one of the things that were a really big thing when I was a kid. It was one of those things that, oh, it's so fancy, it's French water, But other than that, but I'm talking about like bottled water. Like you go to the store, buy bottled water, they just add a little bit of minerals for taste. That's what it says on the bottle. And then spring water. We need water. Our waters have to be clean, because if we don't have water, we aren't going to make it. I don't care how much you think you can. Listen, when the water leaves our atmosphere, when goes outside of our atmosphere and it's drawn out and it's evaporated, or if water is absorbed into stone, rock, or in crevices and different things, it's locked away. Okay. Most of you know that this earth was much of it was underwater. And then some of the deserts and the things you see are where water used to be, where you can find fossilized remains of whales, dolphins, fish, mollusks, trilobites, all these different creatures. It used to, Ash Cave used to be underwater. Most of it we go drumming. And, it just tells you that water recedes and it does go away. The water that's on this planet will always be on this planet, but where it goes, nobody knows. Where it gets sucked into, nobody really truly knows. But the water you drink is very valuable. It's very important. The water that we ingest into our body, we can go without food for a long period of time, but we can't go without water. We cannot go without water very long. You could probably go a good day and then you'd probably be hurting pretty good, some of us. Because we're made up, 98% of us is water and salt and minerals and all the different things inside of us in order for us to work and keep ourselves alive. Well, I'm here to tell you this. Some of you will agree with me, some of you won't. Some of you will say, whatever. But as a messenger from Spirit, a messenger from Mother Earth, she's doing her cleanse right now. And it's not because she doesn't love you. It's not because she doesn't care about you. It's because that's what she does. And she's in her cleansing moment. Right now, I'm not saying that she allowed the virus to escape. No. The virus lived on this planet. And then eventually creatures have to fight for dominance on this planet. Small, big, or large, it doesn't really matter. But Mother Earth has her army. Mother Earth has her weaponization to protect herself too. She's loving, she's caring, but she also understands that if she doesn't live, she doesn't protect, nothing will survive on this planet. So right now, we fight a battle of unseen creatures, and it's not that she put it on us, but it's a way for her to filter through and clean. And if you don't believe me, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Some of you have your theories about what's going on, what's happening, but I'm here to tell you. Some of us will survive, some of us will not. Some of us will make it, some of us will get sick, some of us will be different. But Mother Earth has unleashed in her arsenal of protection, in her arsenal of cleaning and clearing in moving and protecting herself from other viruses, and those viruses happen to be humanity. Humanity is a virus to the earth. Humanity is no different than the COVID virus that you're talking about. There's no difference, no distinction between, if things are out of balance, things are out of balance, and the earth will find a way to regain balance, control, and harmony. Now, I'm not asking you to be in alignment with me. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm letting you know the messages that I received. Mother Earth is going to keep cleaning and keep clearing, and there's going to be more things to come. There's going to be more weather changes, more weather patterns, because the more that we change things, things change, and changes come, and changes can be uncomfortable, and changes can be good. Okay, so the least of your worries is this, that, you know, Mother Earth has already created everything that's on this planet. Everything that's on this planet has already been here. Mother Earth has just amplified it. She has pushed the agenda forward, and she's here to cleanse herself. She's here to take these things on. When you have at least foot on your foot, what do? You scratch for a little bit, and then you get tired of scratching because it starts to hurt. It starts to become painful. Then eventually you go buy lotion, and eventually you dip it in whatever solutions you need. It's like any kind of skin ailment that's on your body, or any kind of ailment that's in your human physical body. What do? Well, you find solutions to it in order to help it, in order to calibrate and fix your body. Mother Earth does the exact same thing. If you don't think that she's not a living thing, then I can't help you understand that fact, because it's one of those facts that you have to understand, that the Mother Earth is a living, human, sentient. And when I say human, it's because we're part of her. We're everything she is: human, animal, wolf, COVID. She's all that. She's everything of that. You know, we're from her. We're from her womb. Life came from water. We came from the waters, people. We came out of the water. We walked from the water. Some of us went back into the water, but we all have water that runs through our body. And that water, we have to sustain that water that's within us in order to keep ourselves alive. We will die one day. That is our ticket out into the next existence. But while we're here, Mother Earth is here to remind you that we're out of harmony, we're out of balance and not in harmony with her. We're totally dysfunctional right now. We're like bad kids, and mom and dad are out on the weekend. Okay, when we're doing whatever the hell we want, whenever we want. And most of us try to do the best we can. And you know what? I understand that, and I get that. And this is what I think about humans sometimes. And I'm in that category. I walk down the park. I walk down the street. And when I look down the street, I see freaking surgical masks on the ground. I see water bottles. I see all this. I mean, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what goes through the mind of other people and why they would even think that's okay. And part of me wants to pick these things up too. And now they have placed such fear in us that if we touch anything, look at anything, or in some way remotely engage with something that's dirty, that we could get sick. But you know what? It doesn't stop me. I have a little thing you pick up things with and you clean. I mean, how many people I've watched people walk by the same trash, the same garbage, and not pick it up. And I know they see it. I guess they're just hoping that somebody else is going to pick it up. But I'm going to say something. The water right now that we have is very precious, is very sacred. And Mother Earth is reminding us to honor and respect the waters. Here's the thing that's going to happen. Two things happen. This Earth readjusts itself. It gets extremely hot, then it gets extremely cold. Okay? The Ice Age came once, and it lasted for a long time. And you're talking about 2 miles of ice that was on top of this, and the glaciers and all the things that came with that. Imagine if we had another Ice Age. Imagine if we had a heat spell. My gosh, we had the Sahara Desert sands were flying through the air over 3 weeks ago through here, and you can see the sunsets, and I think it might still be partly. This is how connected we are in the earth. This is how connected we are, and how close in relationship we are to one another that we don't even get sometimes. We don't understand. We're so connected and we're so close that that sometimes we forget that our actions affect other people. Okay. And it's that sacredness and that all my relations that we are all connected to one another in ways that we can't fathom or understand. Regardless if you like me or don't like me, or you're related, not related, we're all connected. And when people say we're all in this together, we are in this together. We are all on this planet together. You could pick up all the cans in the world, but if someone's dumping more cans behind you and just kind of defeating the purpose of what you're doing, just more cans to pick up. But either way, there are people who have disregard for the planet. There are people who don't give a shit. Okay. There are companies, there are corporations, there are individual human beings that can care less if they throw their can on the street or their surgical mask on the road. You have seen it. You have looked and you have seen it. You have seen surgical masks laying on the road. Don't tell me you didn't, but some of you have posted that. Humanity has no luxury to pollute and hurt itself, but we think we're invincible. We think that tomorrow is going to be okay. We're not even guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed anything. The only thing we're guaranteed is the moment right now, where we're at, what we're listening to, who we're talking to, who we're hanging with, what we're doing. Okay, those are the things that are absolutely in front of you that we can have some remote control of that experience. But other than that, no, there's not a whole lot that we can control. There's not a whole lot of things that we can change unless we work together. And change happens when one person steps out of the group and says, "Hey, we need to change something." The thing is, that person may get discouraged because no one else steps out of the group, but I'll guarantee you this thing: that person keeps going and plugging away. They make a change in people's lives without even knowing, because somewhere else, someone else is doing the exact same thing. They just haven't met up, they haven't linked up, but yet you have 4, 5, 10, 1,000 people doing the same thing because nobody else will. That's where the synergy works. That's where it's important. That is where we have to think about when we're out and alone doing these works and these things and these gifts and these things of life, because that's what we do as human beings. We don't like to see our stuff get messed up, and our planet's getting messed up, and we're not helping it. And so Mother Earth's going to help us. Mother Earth's going to cleanse us and help us very clearly, because you know what? As human beings, we create nuclear power plants. The power plants crash, they burn, they're polluting the world. The thing is, we work if one person in this chat is doing one thing, there's another person in another chat doing a thing, and the numbers add up. So never feel alone, never quit, never stop. So I'm going to send everybody this link. If anybody wants to come on and join me and share thoughts about what you've been feeling here in the last 6 months about the way 2020 has been, or how it's going, please join me, because I'd like to hear I like to hear what's going on, what's happening in your life. There are some cool things to experience, and if not, no problem. Just come on board, and I invite you to the space to just let me know what's happening, what you're doing to help with things. If you want to share your platform or your agendas and things of how you want to help humanity and how we want to move forward, I have no problem with helping human beings, but I think sometimes we have to remember that planet Earth, she needs our help as well, because if we don't help her, she does it very abruptly. Okay. And that's my point in my message tonight, is if we don't help Mother Earth and keep in alignment with her, she's going to abruptly clean everything up for us in ways that we cannot physically handle. For her to have an earthquake and for her to flood all the lands is not a big deal. Okay. All right. The only big deal that is for people like you and me and our children and our families, if we don't do something about it. Okay. So that's where it's at, folks. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I wanted to share today, because if we don't stand up, for the water, the sacred waters, water is life. Water is the key for our survival. I don't care about anything that you may be thinking about, because right now everything is besides the point, because when there's no water, there's no life. It's done. It's over. Life will adjust. A new existence will come. The life that was before it was dependent on it. The new life will create from that. Life adapts. Life changes. So hopefully we change, like the humpback whales that swim through the channels of Peru, coming down from the cold areas to the warm areas to breed. And you know what? These whales are amazing because they eat plankton, and they get huge eating plankton. And the waters are so important to us because plankton is part of that cycle of life. The plankton that's in the water is adversely affected. Okay. And then man just overuses and over consumes. Anchovies are number one source of food around the world to creatures in the Pacific, according to this documentary I watched. The anchovies, in order to protect themselves from the heat of the waters that have become warmer, they actually go deeper into the water, down another 150 feet, in order to protect themselves as well, so they don't get over harvested. And then what happens? That affects the birds, that affects the wildlife, it affects everything. It's that whole chain is totally is manipulated and totally affected, totally affected because of actions of humanity. Because humans don't have any understanding that we take because we see a lot. We think that it's there, it's for us. That's wrong. That's where we're wrong. That's where we're totally out of alignment. That's where we're totally don't get. Just like when we suck the oils out of the earth and we drain her dry in certain pockets, what happens? All that air, all that dead space, those pockets eventually collapse upon themselves. It takes time, but it does happen. Some faster than others. But Mother Earth is here to remind you. She's here to tell you, get your act together, human beings, because if you don't get your act together, I will get it together for you. I will make sure that you will know what I'm talking about, and I mean business. And she means business. She's loving, she's a wonderful being. And like a lot of you who are mothers, you're wonderful in your being, but when you get pushed to that limit and you're disrespected and you're not honored, you open your mouth and you speak and you let everybody know that you are not happy and you're dissatisfied with what's happening. Mother Earth is no different, and she's doing her thing. And she's here to cleanse and she's here to clean. And the virus is one example of many things. But remember, she has many little viruses that are floating around. She has many things, tuberculosis, other H1N1. There's a whole bunch of, there's a whole army. There's a whole army because you know what? We don't have natural predator. We don't have anything that really eats us as human beings. That's why we're so expansive. That's why we're so out of growth. If you would just lower the population and thin the herd, our herd, life on this planet would be a lot different. The way we consume, the way we use, everything would be a lot different. And this is why we have these pandemics. This is why the earth clears and cleanses. If you don't think this is true, go back in history. History will report to you. Mother Earth cleanses and thins the herds of this planet. That's what she does. That's the only way she can. Because humanity, the only other predator humans have are other human beings. And we fight wars, we kill each other, we dominate, we rape, we pillage, we steal land, we appropriate, we take, we consume. And so if you don't think the Mother Earth's not going to protect herself, well, you got something else coming to you. Mother Earth is here to say, hey, you know what? I'm cleaning this thing up because you're not helping. And this is the message that I was been given, and this is the message that many of my friends and many indigenous people have been given, that we need to honor and respect Mother Earth and honor the waters. How do we do that? You're a very creative species. You can figure it out. You know how to do it. My biggest concern is what happens for the future and where we go next and what happens next. I know there are things in front of us right now, like COVID, that everybody's worried about and panicking about. My biggest concern is, am I going to have drinkable water tomorrow? Am my water going to be clean? Am I going to be able to eat food? If I water my plants, am I going to ingest chemicals into them unseen? There are things you can't take out of water, but there are things that Mother Earth can cleanse and clean. And you know what? Mother Earth is cleansing and cleaning us. And we just happen to be in this moment in time where she's in a cleanse. She's in a period of her life where she's making sure that she's got to do what she does. Pachamama is very much alive and very much functioning and very much doing her thing. In order for humans to survive, in order for human beings to move into the next evolution of humanity and evolve, is if we help take care of Mother Earth. Listen, if the sun gets so hot and we can't live here anymore, then the Earth doesn't die. The Earth adapts and changes. Okay? It's given a chance, it'll do what it needs to do. Can human beings adapt and change if it's given a chance to? That's the question we need to ask about who we are as human beings. Can we adapt? Can we change? Can we become better? Can we do something different than what we're doing? Are we over consuming? I was just thinking about all the trash in my personal home and all the things that we recycle. So much is just used. It's so much filler. There's so much filler in the things that we buy. Some of these boxes are just overkill, and then these toothpaste, why they put toothpaste in boxes, which I don't understand. I don't know why you have to put toothpaste in a toothpaste box, which is already in a toothpaste bottle, which you could just stick a freaking, price tag on it and just sell it that way. But it's just all about transportation. It's all about how you move things and how this and marketing and labeling and pretty to the eyes and how you're going to buy it, why you should buy this and why that. You know, half the stuff you buy at the store is the things they want you to buy, not because you want to buy them. It's because you don't have any other options to buy unless you're growing something in your house, unless you're actually producing and manufacturing your own grains and oats and whatever you eat. You're pretty much eating everything that they're telling you to eat. So it's a controlled system. It's a controlled environment. So you may go to Whole Foods and think that you're doing better because you're buying them, but it's still controlled. It's just still a system. They still sell you what they want to sell you, and regardless, you're still following that trap. And those who go to the regular store, the other stores, the Kroger's and stuff, when you buy your stuff, they selling you what they want you to buy. There's a big market for shelf space. I know this because when I try to sell chili rellenos in the store, from Garcia's when we had the restaurant, they asked me how many chili rellenos I could produce a week, a month, and they would tell me how much it would cost me to have space in their freezer in order to keep these things frozen. They charge you for that. Even though they buy it from you, they still charge you for that. There's a battle for the space on that shelf. That's why you see things like from Pepsi and potato chips and Doritos and stuff dominate the shelf spaces because they have more money to buy and use. Because that's what we do. We're consumers. We're like animals. We're like fed. Except we buy the stuff and we eat it because we don't no longer as humans really grow it like we used to. We're not connected to the earth. We're not in the dirt like we used to be. We're not dirty. We're not muddy. We're not yucky. We don't go to the farmer's market like we used to. There's farmer's market, but I'm talking about like what we used to when we were connected to Mother Earth, when we were like connection with her and understanding her. But either way, now we're civilized and now we are now we don't need that anymore because we have grocery stores and cars and stuff. But regardless, we have all these things. We have these luxuries. We have these things that, that kind of take care of us and we take care of it. And it's kind of like a, one hand feeds the other and vice versa. But either way, I'm just here just to kind of give you my messages where I've been in the hermit stage, just kind of listening to messages and letting spirit flow through me and just kind of see what I need to do and just share what's on my mind. And, I'm not always in alignment with everything that's happening on the world right now. Things are a little bit different, and they're going to continue to be different. Things are going to be moving in a different direction very quickly, very fast. The only thing I just tell you right now is just put on your seatbelts because there's more stuff to come, more things to happen. COVID, no COVID, earthquakes, tornadoes, whatever you want to call it. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming, and it's not because we didn't do anything. It's because we didn't do anything. If you hear what I'm saying. Mother Earth is just on her cycle, and this is her cycle of cleansing. This is her cycle of moving and thinning the herd. We are the herd. We are the virus. We are the things that are in her way. We are the things that she feels are out of balance. It's kind of like the story of the wolves were introduced into to this wooded area, this part of the western part of the country where there used to be the trees and the creeks and stuff were half suffering because of overpopulation of deer and moose and different stuff like that. And they introduced these wolves, and these wolves, over a period of time, 3 or 4 or 5 years, the prairies grew back, and all these things grew back because there was harmony, there was balance with nature. Because the wolves make sure there wasn't too many of one creature over another to overpopulate. When we take things out of the ecosystem, it throws it out of whack. Okay, and so human beings have taken things out of the ecosystem and out of the flow. It's thrown everything out of whack. Now we're in the flow and we're kind of out of whack. Okay, some of you know people who don't give a rat's ass about what happens on the earth, and they don't care if they throw something out the freaking window. You know a person like that. You know people like that. I know people like that. You know people who are wasteful, who open a bottle of water, leave it laying around after. That's what I try to teach my grandkids, not to do that, not to open water bottle and you haven't finished the other water bottle. Just little things like that. Just little things like that are important. But anyhow, I'm just here to relay that message. Hopefully that message resonated with you a little bit and got to the place where it needs to be. And the message you do, but Mother Earth is here. So you just say, hey, you guys can't really help me. I'm going to help myself, because you don't really want to help, because you just want to use, take, and hoard. You're talking about hoarding. They talk about us buying water bottles and hoarding toilet paper. These big corporations like PepsiCo, okay, what is it, Navian, Aquafina, all these companies, they hoard gallons and gallons and gallons of water, okay, and bottle it. All right, so they're allowed to hoard it because they're going to sell it to you. But you're not allowed to hoard anything. You're not allowed to put things in storage because, oh no, that's not right. No one will have enough. But these companies that make coffee, they package coffee, wheat, rice, grains, flour. They have warehouses full of this stuff. Okay. And they wait to sell it to you. And if you think you're buying this stuff fresh, you're not buying this stuff fresh. This stuff is recycled. This stuff is stored for 5 to 10 years before you even get to the store for you. Do a little research. I've done the research. I know this fact to be true. Okay, half the grains that you buy in the store, unless it comes from a specific type of small micro farming, that stuff's like 5 to 10 years old. It's just being cycled through. All right, so don't think just because someone puts a nice smack label on it and makes it look nice that it is. They've learned how to put apples and store them for a year in storage without them rotting. All right, do some research. So when someone jumps to your face because you want to buy extra water and you want to buy extra cans of beans and stuff, remind them that, hey, these big corporations have millions of gallons of water stored that they're going to sell back to you. All right. And our governments hoard oil, petroleum, so they can sell it back to you. They don't want solar. They don't want wind. They don't want anything. They don't want anybody to teach anybody how to use electric cars or water powered cars. No, because they can't make any money off of it. Humans are smart, man. Humans know how to make things, but there are other humans who are smart and know how to steal things and take things and create laws that keep you from using these things, so they don't lose their pocketbook. All right. So don't get fooled. Don't get hoodwinked into these little things that this corporation is not. Every corporation has an agenda. I don't care if it's good, bad, or whatever. They all have agendas. They all have, the bottom line is to make a profit. And the way they make their profit is hoping that you buy their stuff. Okay. So if you have a company that you like and you buy their stuff, then great. But understand, they're there to make a profit. And that's okay, because that's what we do, right? Because that's where society is. We're here to make money so we can survive, we can feed our kids. But remember, Mother Earth is here, and she's cleansing, she's clearing, and she's moving in the right place, in the right direction, and she's going to do what she needs to do. I don't care if you come up with a vaccine. I don't care if you come out with whatever. Mother Earth is still going to do her thing. She's still going to cleanse. She's still going to do the things that she has to do. And she just wants me to let you know that. And if you don't think you have a connection with Mother Earth, if you don't think I have a connection with Mother Earth, close your eyes one time under a tree and meditate and listen and become the tree and tell me and feel what that tree feels. Feel what the earth feels. It's not hard, because if anybody has an ounce of imagination, you can pull and draw from that imagination, because imagination is powerful. All things come from the creation of our imagination. When the imagination stops, when you don't stop creating, then you know what? Then we die and we suffer. Never stop imagining, never stop creating, never stop being curious, never stop asking questions. Never stop. Continue being who you are, continue being the curious beings that you are, because once you stop, somebody else's creation comes into effect. Every single person who's been online today has a $1 million idea. Now the question is, how do you make this $1 million idea work for you? That's where you have to use more imagination. That's where you have to encompass other people's imaginatory ideas and work together. Humanity can overcome many things, and we have. Humanity has worked and moved through the things. I know that I have complained about the conquest, and I have shared my thoughts about that and how that all has happened. But I also understand, by speaking and listening to other people who are my friends, who I don't just cut off because I'm angry at them. No, because they like Trump. I don't cut my friends off because they like Trump. It's the stupidest thing you do. I have my healthy limits and boundaries where I lay it. But here's the thing about the conquest. I'll tell you about that. Someone says, well, the reason you're here is because of that conquest. That's a valid point. That is a sacred, valid point. And that is true. But now that I'm here, I also have a responsibility to remind and to let go. It's like telling the Jewish people, hey, or anybody who died in the Holocaust, it's over, man. Don't worry about it. That happened a long time ago. Shit, blah, 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 blah. You would be accused of being anti-Semite so quickly and so fast. Okay? So if the Jewish people say it's not over, that we don't forget, so why is it wrong for myself, like an indigenous person from Peru, indigenous background, to remind people of what happened back in 1492 or before that, or in between those years? Because I have a right to, because they're part of my lineage. They're part of the people who helped make me and bring me here, help make you and brought you here, some of you. Because those people will never be remembered. And the only way I remember them is by lighting a candle and giving thanks and honoring them and remembering them. Okay? It's like asking people who were in the Holocaust, who died, or people who survived the Holocaust, to forget about the Holocaust because, oh, it's old news. I've seen so many people post stuff on it. Oh, that's old news. Whatever. Fuck you. That's not old news. You just want it to be old news because you don't want to be bothered by it. That's why. And that's why I'm here to remind also. And this is why I open my mouth, so I can use it to speak. And I don't speak out of context. I don't speak out of stupid ideas. I speak from valid, truthful points when I speak about this the Caribbean Holocaust, when all the Taino people were killed off by Christopher Columbus and all those other Spaniards and all those other Italians and Europeans that came through here. Because you know why? It's commodity. They were a product. They were used as slaves. They were used and abused. Yes, I am a product of the conquest. Yes, I am a child, and from that. And all of my cousins on here too. She is also. We all are from Peru. When the Spanish came and conquered those people, those Incas, many, many moons ago, it happened in 30 minutes. And that's how fast life can change. And I'm going to tell you right now how fast life can change. In 2020, in March, there was a problem. And this problem was, we didn't know what this enemy was. And this enemy was a little virus. In a matter of minutes, in a matter of moments, someone changed everything. They said that you had to live like this, you had to live like that, you had to move like this, and you had to go like that. You have to wear a mask, you have to put a thing like that, you have to do this. I'm not saying that we didn't have to do that, but I'm just telling you, reminding you The same way the indigenous people were manipulated and used, there are people who are manipulating and using you too. And if you don't believe me, I can't help you. You have to see, you want to see the world in a different way, then you see it the way you want to see it. But I see the world in a different way because inside of my body, inside of my inside of the genes and the blood that flows through me is memories and feelings of being used and manipulated by a system, by people who wanted to change and wanted to conquer and oppress other people for their benefit. Okay, so that's why I feel the way I feel sometimes. If you really want to know what rolls through my body and what happens and what's going on, that's the story that flows through my blood. As much as the European side of me flows through me as well, inside of me is also the conquered people. Inside of me is also the people who conquered. And it's a battle. And it's an interesting conversation from time to time when you hear the voices of your ancestors who are from Europe and your ancestors who are from South America and from Central America, the Caribbean, for that's all of my connections, and from all over the world. Yes, I'm compromised of many people compiled in there. And it's an interesting story, and it's an interesting dialogue sometimes. But I will never, never stop sharing that story. I always remember, and I always light candles to remember my mom and dad, their mom and dad, and all the ancestors who came before me. Just like the Jewish people remember their people and the people who died in the Holocaust and the people who died in those wars. Okay. They never forget their people. So if you ask me to get over it and forget about it, fuck you, because I'm not going to. Because they don't forget. I don't forget. No one should ever forget where they come from. No one should ever forget who their ancestors were. No one should never forget. But I've been told too many times, that's in the past. That wasn't my blood. You know what? You would talk about modern times. America is the only country that used an atomic weapon on innocent people, civilians, okay, in Japan. So don't tell me to forget. Because if you think the Japanese people have forgotten, maybe in their history, they're totally reminded about what we did to them. And you think because we're friends now that they don't forget about that shit? Whatever, man. If someone bombed me and did that to me, yes, there's forgiveness, and yes, there's this and that. But I always have one eye looking this way and one eye looking that way. Okay? Because you know what? I'm not saying you can't trust America. I can't say you can't trust humans, period. Because humans will turn on you in a matter of a moment and a spin of the dime. So don't forget your history. Never, never forget your history. Because history repeats itself in one way or another, in different shape and form. Another group of people, another group of ideas, another group of ideologies, another group of this or that. So with that, I want to say, you figure out what's best for you and your family and your lives, and I'll figure out what's best for me and my family and my life. But I know one thing is the water is sacred, and without water, we go nowhere. And this becomes a very unique battle for survival. Because if you don't think that we're having problems with water right now, it's just because they haven't really shared that message with you. Okay. When you start to look and you start to dig deep, you start to see, and you'll start to notice little by little, there's only so much water being sold in the grocery stores lately, not stockpiled like it used to be. I've noticed that. Just these little subtleties I've noticed. Just these little things. And this is just my topic about water. So with that, you guys have a great night. No apologies here. I'm sorry, but this is how it has to be sometimes. We have to be, PG-13, and we have to say it how it is, because sometimes that's the only way we can hear it. That's the only way we can feel it. Water is sacred. Water is life. Matakuyasin. Irisikwi. It's good to be here. All my relations. Namaste. Ho'oponopono. And all the things that you're in alignment with. All right, guys, you have a great, great, great night. Have a great, great weekend. I hope to see each other soon. And you know what? Just have faith and have hope that things get better, because they will. They will. And don't stress, don't worry. Just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey within the birth and the death. Inside this middle is ours to experience and enjoy. All right, guys, take care. I will see you next time on Iggy Garcia Live, the Naked Shaman, on the With Insights Radio Network. And I will talk to you soon. Be well and have a great night, and see you soon.